Hi, do-gooders. Welcome to the We Are for Good community. I am here today with a very special announcement and also even more special individuals today because we are talking about reimagining teams. We are talking about reimagining partnerships. Plus, we got a super big announcement today, but I want to welcome my two beautiful guests to the screen with us today. And the first one is someone that you have seen in the We Are for Good community and listened to a number of times. We come to her in all things with all questions. Staryn Bird, welcome back to the We Are for Good community. If this is your first time meeting Staryn, she is a global fundraising leader, just universally recognized for her almost 3 decades of experience and dedication in philanthropy. She has literally done it all. She's got expertise spanning from fundraising, major gifts, building robust teams, mastering the art of relational fundraising. And then she's got this like tech ability that is kind of just stacked on top. And she's got this beautiful, keen focus on breaking down silos, fostering human-centered change and design. And she's using all of it to advocate for utilizing AI in fundraising innovation. Staryn's worked at Duke Medicine. She's worked at the University of California, American Red Cross. She was the Chief Development Officer at the March of Dimes. Staryn, so glad you are back in the house. Welcome, my friend. And you
Thank
brought a
you,
friend
Becky.
along with you.
I know. Well, boy, that's such a fabulous introduction. Can you introduce me every morning?
Yes, I will be your hype squad for the rest of your life, as you know that I will. And you have this incredible friend that you have brought into the We Are for Good community, Christy Phillips, who is probably my sister from another mister. I don't know how we have not met before.
I know.
Christy serves as the managing director and nonprofit market lead for Attain Digital. And if y'all don't know Attain Partners, Attain Digital, these are like our new BFFs. They are doing so much to accelerate the way that we modernize and humanize our work in this space. And Christy's been working directly with nonprofits to really pick up that momentum of their impact and deliver these creative solutions that address people, processes, technology, all concurrently, and that are working toward digital transformation. She's been doing this for, I would say, almost 20 years. I can't tell because you have no lines underneath your skin at all. So bravo on that skin routine.
Thank you.
What thing I really want to lift, because it's going to tell you that Christy's our people. But before diving into this world of consulting, she served as the director of global data management at Teach for All, where she was pioneering using technology as a lever to accelerate organization impact and growth. She began her career as a Teach for America core member. And as someone who has a sister and a mother who are teachers, I just want to thank you for coming in. And we're going to be talking about what you all are seeing. You both are teachers. You are both thought leaders. And we have been pulling down some incredible trends here at We Are for Good. Two that I want to lift that are going to be really, really tenable in this conversation is one, retention is an inside job. And we are watching the falling numbers of what's happening to our workforce in the nonprofit sector. And we are getting ahead of that and talking about how we can turn the tide. The second one is trend number one this year of there is no more normal. There is no new normal. And so we're going to be diving into this. But first, I just want to say, hi, ladies. Welcome in. It's so good to
Hi.
visit with you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
having
much
us,
for
Beck.
having us.
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, anytime I can sit with two brilliant women who are really at the forefront of what's happening right now, not just in nonprofit, not just in impact work, but in technology, in CSR initiatives, in what's working right now in community building. And so I really want to start kind of at that place because one of our trends, we talked about this, is this retention is an inside game. And we've been seeing the survey data. We talked about it quite a bit with Evan Wildstein and Michelle Flores-Vrin, who put out this employment survey. And they shared that 75% of nonprofit respondents said that they were planning on finding a new job in the next 18 months. And you all know better than anybody that we cannot innovate when we can't keep talent in the door. So we have consensus about this. And one of the things that drew the three of us together is this absolute commitment that we have to constantly innovate, to re-examine the way that we approach our work. And Christy, you said to me one time that you were here to disrupt the status quo. I love that so much. So let's talk about this moment in time that we're seeing right now and why reimagining our work can unlock so much for us in the impact sector. And Christy, I'll start with you, then we'll go to Staryn.
Yeah, thanks, Becky. Thanks so much again for having us this afternoon. As I reflect on your question, I think, we're finding ourselves, what I'm observing in this space is that we're at this really interesting inflection point for how nonprofit organizations, specifically around the areas of digital transformation and how technology can truly be used as this lever to accelerate impact. And it's this really exciting moment. We've seen AI, it's burst onto the scene. We're seeing this rapid release of new technologies emerging across the market. And, we all know that technology, is this force multiplier for change.
Yes.
But when we see this introduction of new products and technologies, what we're observing is actually a pause. And it's a moment for reflection. And it's a moment for these organizations to envision what the future holds with these new tools in their hand. And you talked about disrupting the status quo. That's part of the mission statement of Attain Partners. It's why I was drawn to this organization. It's why our company exists. And so with these opportunities to pause and to rethink how technology can accelerate social change, it's given us the opportunity to rethink our teams, to say and ask ourselves, how do we do this differently? How can we challenge the way we've always built our teams, the way we've always thought about technology for social good? And when we do that, let's really be bold in our approach.
Okay, so much wisdom right there. And you are the first person that has told me to stop and reflect. I don't think I've stopped in 22 years of this work because it's always go, go, go all the time. And so that's a really interesting approach, Darren. I'm really curious what you're seeing right now.
Well, it's interesting. Over the last couple of months, I've had to retrain myself to do something that I'm referring to as practice the pause, which is just to actually take a minute and take a look around at all of the information, all of the data I have about anything, whether it's managing my children or it's managing my
Real talk.
work. And I subscribe to the notion where it's think fast and move slow. I think we have to constantly be aware of the innovation and the change that's happening to us professionally and personally, around, in our individual and collective orbits. And then also really be thoughtful, to our own purpose and value about what is it that why are we doing this work? And then when we practice that pause and we say, okay, why, Staryn, do you get up every morning and do this work and try to have impact? And if I can stay grounded in my why, then I have the ability to actually examine the how. And so that for me is what this new way of doing things is about. Because when you look at our industry, and I think we just have to name it, we have forever been purchasing point solutions to try to do our jobs better. And I think for me, particularly over the course of the last several years of my work, noticing that we are now dealing with the repercussions of purchasing and trying to spot innovate, which is not a technical term, but it's something that I'm going to coin now going forward. And so as an industry, we've been trying to innovate here and there and here and there, but not in a connected way. And I think that has not served us well. And so I think the learnings that I've enjoyed over the last few years is how do we practice that pause as people and as organizations to say, okay, wait, here's where we are and what we've done, and here's why we made those choices. And now, how do we advantage the innovations and the new things that are coming our way, but naming and optimizing what we've already done and then building upon it in a way that's realistic? Because to your earlier point about our people, none of it will work if our people can't lean into it and if we can't hang on to them. And so we have to begin.
Mm-hmm.
The pause is about where are we? What are we trying to do? And what's our why? And then who are the people that really need to understand that why and that how? And we have to bring them along on that journey in order for us to continue the innovation and what I would call the innovation evolution. because it's not a destination. It's a process, and we'll be forever. Just like as people are constantly evolving, our organizations are living things, and they are too.
Okay, you have been teaching me this, I want to say, for 4 years. I have been listening to you, and I want you to know that I have been hearing you, because there is very much a drumbeat in what you're saying about measure twice, cut once. And I think that we get in the practice of churning and grinding, and we look at the next bell and whistle, and we run at
Hmm.
the shiny thing. But the cohesion is really connecting with me, because it's not only strategy, but it's integration. I think there's balance in what you're saying for us as human beings. Very much appreciate you talking about values. And I just think this new notion of working differently, thinking differently, this, I'm here for the revolution, I am here for the evolution, for both of these things in
Yeah.
the sector. And I want to talk about the reason that we're sort of hosting this conversation, because you guys have had something that I think is extremely cutting edge. I have not heard of it yet in the sector. And I got to tell you, it gives me, We Are for Good, so much hope in the ways that we can think about approaching our work differently. And so when you think about this pioneering spirit, you both clearly have this baked into your DNA. I think that something that is really hard for people in the sector is to do that left-handed move, which is not doing it the way that we've always been doing it. And so I want you to talk a little bit about this like pioneering solution that you all have. And I want to tee you up just a little bit with this, because you're announcing this brand new position with Attain.
Hmm.
It's going to have, I want to call it like a multi ripple effect to the way that it's going to help not just the people and the organizations within your purview, but I believe this is going to have a ripple of effect into the sector. So talk to us about this new position and tell us how it's going to augment, I think, teams across the entire sector. Talk to us about this, Christy.
I'm so ecstatic to be here today, but to formally announce our nonprofit executive in residence role that we are bringing to the market, that we are bringing to the sector. It is this one of a kind role that is designed to showcase the first-hand executive experience. People like Staryn, who have led nonprofit organizations, that understand the demands of the roles that our clients have. They've sat in their chairs, they've addressed the same challenges. Our clients need that expertise, and we want to bring this experience directly to them. You know, the role was born from this spirit that we have at Attainer on inventing the future and being bold. And that's what this is. You know, our nonprofit clients, just like every other industry, deserve the best. And so we have made this investment. We've made a very explicit choice in the way that we are going to partner with strategic executives like Staryn to help drive innovative conversations, to help pioneer new ideas so that we can really focus on optimizing technology and growing the mission critical work with people who've done it and who've been there. And I couldn't think of a better person than Staryn to join us at Attain Partners as we pioneer what it means to be a nonprofit executive in residence.
Okay, you picked the most fabulous human on the
I know,
planet to
right?
highlight
I am
this.
so
I
lucky.
support
We
it
are so lucky.
100%. But I want to know, like, Staryn, when you first told me about this, like my mind went in 5 different places. Like, crystallize this for people who are watching and listening. Talk about what your vision is for how you see your skill set coming in and just impacting so many different organizations, partnerships. I think ideas, theories, strategies. What are you seeing?
So I think first of all, I just want to thank both. First of all, again, my ego, like thank you so much for all the compliments. But more than anything, I think the thing I want to double click on that Christy said is the be bold, which is one of Attain's values. And I was asked by the leadership of Attain, what is of the 7 values that Attain has, what is the one that resonates with you the most? And for me, anybody that knows me or doesn't know me at this point but follows me knows that be bold would be the obvious choice for the one that I would choose. And honestly, the notion for this is really born out of the remarkable experience I had over the course of the last 4 years when I was most recently Salesforce's in-house expert on the nonprofit sector globally. And I was the senior director and industry advisor for the Salesforce practice. And that was a remarkable experience in terms of coming into the tech world, bringing the depth and breadth of my 30 years of experience in the industry to bear on the process of teaching not only the in-house Salesforce team about what it means to be in the industry, but also working with the nonprofit organizations, helping them navigate Salesforce. And what I learned about myself through that incredible experience, and moreover, is that I'm still a doer. I'm still the person that wants to push my sleeves up and actually do the evolution and transformation and innovation with the nonprofits, more so than I am perhaps just an advisor writ large. And so, as I considered what I wanted to do next, I pulled a page. I'm here in Silicon Valley and spend a lot of my time around a lot of the venture capital and private equity firms who have this concept of executive or entrepreneur in residence. And the more I dug into it, and I have dear friends of mine who have been executives in residence in some of the bigger tech firms in the world, and I poked around that a little bit, and Christy has been, the obvious choice for Attain, and the choice around Attain for me and with Christy is around Be Bold, and it's also about the commitment of not doing this the same way anymore. Like we have, if I've learned anything most recently in the 4 years, is that this is tough. It's hard work to do. And because of the churn and the turnover in our industry, it often remains unfinished or not optimized, or the ROI that we are shooting for when we are moving towards these innovation projects perhaps isn't realized because of extraneous factors or things that have nothing to do with the technology and everything to do with the process. And that's where I come in. And what I wanted to do so desperately was to lean into that part and be not just a thought partner, but a boots on the ground, do it with you. And that's the model of what Attain does differently than the others. And so that's how the idea was born, is how can I actually push up my virtual and real sleeves and come alongside the customers in the entire ecosystem, still working globally, and have the impact that I want to have with the support and the innovation and the thinking and the commitment that Attain brings to that work and to our industry. And so the choice was obvious for me, and I'm just so grateful that Christy and the leadership of Attain see it that way too. And so it's really a marriage of like mind, and we're ready to get after it.
I mean, can I just say on behalf of Impact and Heartwired Humans Everywhere, thank you all. And I want to say to you all who are watching and listening, please take this playbook. Please pilot this out. We want to see more executives in residence, because Staring, you're already dispelling a lot of the myths, which are consultants walk in, they talk a lot, they hand you a playbook and they leave. We're talking about you getting into the trenches right beside those who are doing the work on the front lines. And I just think about Scott Curran, who's been on our podcast several times, and he says success leaves clues. And you all are going to be able to find those clues that are popping up, and you're going to be able to replicate it. You're going to be able to chase it down. And I just think it bodes with just so much excitement for the sector. So I want to talk, Christy, about what is this going to look like practically? Like, how do you see this playing out? And like, what's the full vision of this?
Well, so Staryn and I, we've been planning. We're sitting at my kitchen table.
Yes.
We've got a lot in the works that's coming. But I think at its core, as we start to roll this out over the next several months, I think the things to take away, it's going to look different. We want to show up in places that, we've never been before, and one of those is here we are on this podcast, partnering with you, Becky, partnering with your community. I couldn't think of a better way to kick off this nonprofit executive in residence role, doing things boldly, doing things differently, than joining forces with you at the Impact Up conference and sponsoring that. It's an amazing opportunity for our team to join in this national, conversation and community, around the country. And I know Staren's got some things in the works too. I will let her take it.
Well, I think there's a couple of like practical and tactical things that I'm super excited about. So during the height of the pandemic, I spun up a community, the Chief Development Officer Council, that I
Of
did
course you did.
16 times in 4 years on the back of a napkin with some of the most extraordinary fundraisers, frankly, in the country and around the world. And so with Attain's support, I'm spinning that back up. And the first convening of that group, the invitations went out a couple of weeks ago. And if you want to come and you're listening to this, don't hesitate to DM me, like with the more the merrier. We're spinning that up with kind of a new focus. And the idea here is, as I mentioned a minute ago about really wanting to push my sleeves up and do the work, the point and some sort of the call to action for the CDO Council going forward, and particularly in the near term, is how do we co-create the path to innovation with fundraisers? Because at the end of the day, the very thing that every nonprofit has in common is they all have to secure the revenue to succeed and fulfill their missions. And they all also need to be able and deserve to avail themselves of the tools and the technology that's available to them. But damn, it's hard. So how
It
do
is
we
hard.
co-create that path to innovation together? And that's not me telling you how to do it. It's how do you guys want to do this? Because you know what we've been doing might not be actually the path of least resistance. And it certainly isn't the least expensive, given the risk that we all carry in our portfolios about, making sure we make the numbers. So the CDO Council is coming back to life for sure. We are also, I think, as a function and an offshoot out of the Impact Uprising on July 11th, I think Attain and myself are deeply committed to finding the champions in market in the nonprofit organizations that might feel like apart from, innovation technology is too big for me. That's not something we can consider. Guess what? Yes, you can.
Yep.
And yes, you can in a way that is manageable and that will not break your bank or break your people. And we are here to help you walk on that journey. So it's about walking the walk. And so those are the two things that I would say in the very near term. Beyond, we're also, I'd like to finally convene that CDO Council in person after we do some learnings. We've already scheduled the first ones in June. We have a global one coming together in early October in advance of the Resource Alliance IFC conference and Net Hope. So we're going to get that group together globally to talk about global trends and innovation. And then I'm hoping to get them together in person finally. So, and again, all of this is with the support and finally with Attain putting the wins in my sails around this, because I think the fundraisers have an uphill battle right now. They are beholden to not only their stakeholders and their donors, but to their boards and to the people that they serve. And let's face it, the nonprofit sector has never been more important, whether you're dealing with, female reproductive rights, the refugee crises around the world, and or the refugee crisis and the food problem in our own country. We rely on this sector for our communities to thrive. And I think I'm locked arms with Christy and with Attain Partners in believing that it is our obligation and we are going to show up differently.
Okay.
And we're going to build community as we do it.
Yes,
That's a really
absolutely.
key
That's
piece.
the thing.
Like doing it together.
I just want to commend you women, because the final core value, you guys know this, of We Are for Good, is that community is everything. And what you're saying is that you're not building for community, you're building with community. And
Absolutely.
I think that co-build makes all the difference in the world. So please be watching. Please, one, go follow Attain so you can follow these updates. If you're hanging out in the We Are for Good ecosystem, definitely check back here, because we're going to make sure that you have access to those CDO Council roundups, because we want access community, what's working, what's not working, and what's innovating to be the source of truth for you. So you all have been around We Are for Good long enough to know we close out every conversation with a one good thing. And I want to just invite you both to sort of wrap up what has honestly really been such a hopeful and inspiring conversation of possibilities. And Christy, I'm going to kick it to you first. What would you offer up to the audience today? A one good thing about maybe innovation, trying stuff, anything you've got on your heart?
For me, it's very simple. When we're talking about trying things, it's about just not being afraid to try. And I think about my personal and professional career as that elementary special education teacher. It took so many different twists and turns. I learned a tremendous amount of things along the way. Some of those roles I weren't necessarily always qualified for on day one, but I tried it.
Or any of us in this
Or
world?
any of us, you know, mom being one of those. But we tried it. And, I think that's just so important. And that's what we're doing here. We're trying this with the nonprofit executive in residence role. We're building community. We're trying different things. And I just think that that's so important. And as you do it, to find a mentor and to listen and to ask for help and to honestly just enjoy the process along the way. But it starts with don't being afraid to try. Let's break out of the old ways and try something new.
I always listen to my teachers. Okay, excellent one. Staryn, what you got to bring us home?
You are not alone in this work. And that to me is all about community. It's why we have to do it different. It's why we're going to do it with you and not talk at you. And we are going to support you from start to finish to understand where you're at and how you get to where you want to go. And I will say this, it will be my privilege and my honor to be on that journey with all of you.
And as if you didn't have two reasons sitting right here, that it will be compassionate, it will be empathy led, it will be baked, I know, Staryn, in data. And I think that just this call for community to rise up is something that we can all rally around. So Christy, Staryn, tell us where you all hang out. Tell us where people can keep updated with you. Where do you hang out online and where they can find these updates?
You can find everything about Attain Partners on our website, attainpartners.com. You can find us on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter and Facebook. And we will be publishing all sorts of fun blogs and announcements as we continue to make our way in this new community, and encourage you to also sign up for our monthly newsletter, which you can subscribe to on our website, which will have all of these fun insights as we continue to do more.
And I'm in all of those places too. And also at, of course, LinkedIn and all the good stuff. And of course, if you need to reach out to me, I'm at starynbird.com.
You women give me such hope in the future. We're honored that you would come into our space, socialize this brilliant idea. We are honored to have you as co-conspirators, co-builders, and just incredible partners to the Impact Up event in July. This is what we need more of. We need more community. We need more conversation. We need more ideas socialized. You all are being that change that's on the ground. Could not be more excited about this new story that's going to be unfolding, and we can't wait to be a part of telling it. So Godspeed on this journey, you two.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.